we'll go ahead and dive in. Today, we are releasing the result of an examination of 9 county attorneys' offices. Now, our report details 9 findings, 3 of which we are referring to federal and state law enforcement, as well as other agencies and ethics boards. Now, my office made the decision to conduct this examination because of issues identified during a separate examination last year and concerns our office has received. Now, while auditors were gathering information and documents related to an examination of the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services Child Support Enforcement Program, or CSE, which we released in December of 2019, they discovered other areas of concern within some county attorney offices. Now, one area identified, which was highlighted in that report and in this exam as well, being released today, led to a 77-count indictment last November against a former office supervisor with the Boyd County Attorney's Child Support Enforcement Office. It is one of 3 county attorney offices that we will be referring to law enforcement for further review and possible action by them. But first, I did want to discuss an issue of concern we identified within the Lawrence County Attorney's Office. Now, auditors discovered that over a period of 2 fiscal years reviewed, the Lawrence County Attorney's Office paid out over $134,500 in bonuses to employees within the office. Now, these bonuses were paid out of the office's delinquent tax funds. Now, of the total paid out, 94%, let me repeat that again, 94% was paid to the wife of the Lawrence County Attorney, who is employed as a legal secretary within the County Attorney's Office. In fiscal year 2018, the Lawrence County Attorney's wife was paid a bonus of $61,400 and received a bonus payment of $61,500 in fiscal year 2019. By comparison, one assistant county attorney received a total of $2,150 and another received $650 for that same 2-year period. So, the total amount paid in bonuses to the county attorney's wife over that 2-year period was $126,500. That was in addition to the $40,000 annual salary she received as an employee of the Lawrence County Attorney's Office. Now, according to a prior decision by the Office of the Attorney General, the payment of bonuses using public funds violates Section 3 of Kentucky's Constitution. Now, in order to comply with the requirements under Kentucky's Constitution, any payment to a public employee should be for consideration of public services, which is interpreted to mean for salary or wages for work performed. We found no supporting evidence to substantiate the additional payments to any of the employees, and the Lawrence County Attorney indicates he was not aware of any restrictions on the use of delinquent tax funds for any purpose, which includes the payment of bonuses. Now, in addition, because the county attorney's wife received such a large amount, it indicates a substantial personal benefit to the county attorney and potentially violates the county's local code of ethics. Now, because of what our auditors uncovered, we will be referring this finding to the FBI, the Internal Revenue Service, the Kentucky Office of the Attorney General, the Kentucky Department of Revenue, and the Lawrence County Ethics Commission. Now, another issue we identified that will be referred relates to the use of operating funds by the Gallatin County Attorney's Office to pay for personal and private law office expenses. Now, the majority of more than $36,000 identified that was used to pay for private law office and personal expenses came from the Gallatin County Attorney Office's delinquent tax fund. The management of that fund is conducted by the Gallatin County Attorney's wife, who serves as a bookkeeper there in the office. Now, in reviewing the bookkeeper's records, Auditors discovered between June 2017 and September of 2019 that more than $9,000 in charges on credit cards maintained and used by the Gallatin County Attorney were for personal expenses, even though over $11,000 in payments were made from the Gallatin County Attorney's Office operating fund. Now, the Gallatin County Attorney's wife, who, as we mentioned, is the bookkeeper for the office, used the letter O to identify operating expenses and the letter P to label personal expenses. Now, of the $11,525 in charges to the county attorney's office credit card in the time frame reviewed, 9,189 were labeled P for personal expenses. That equates to about 80% of the total card charges as personal. Now, money from the office's delinquent tax account and the county attorney traffic safety, or CATS account, was used to make monthly payments between $250 and $500 on the credit card balances. Of the 127 charges auditors identified on the card, 92 were for new purchases. Now, they include, but not limited to, a boat rental service, an oil change, lodging, subscription services, parking, as well as numerous transactions for gas station and restaurant purchases. Now, our review also discovered between June 2017 and December 2019 that the Gallatin County Attorney's Office used more than $12,500 from the delinquent tax fund to pay their family's personal cell phone bill. The wife of the Gallatin County Attorney told auditors that she reimbursed the office for personal portions relating to their 4 children, but she admitted they were sadly behind on the reimbursements. Now, records show that only 19% of the more than $12,500 spent on the family cell phone bills had been reimbursed. In addition, our review of records found that over the 26-month period, 7 loans totaling $9,150 were made from the county attorney's delinquent tax account to his private law office. Now, the county attorney's wife told auditors if the law office account had a zero or negative balance, she transferred funds to cover it because she could not see paying fees when there was money sitting in another account. Now, for the 7 loans that we identified were to cover negative balances in the private law office's account, with the remaining 3 identified with the cost to repair the office's roof. Now, while records indicate the loans to the county attorney's private law office were repaid, the commingling of public and private funds is against the law. Now, much like the issue identified with the Lawrence County Attorney, the use of public funds to pay more than $36,000 in personal and private law practice expenses could be considered a personal benefit to the Gallatin County Attorney, a potential violation of the local ethics code. Now, because of this, we are referring this finding to the FBI, the Office of the Attorney General, and the Gallatin County Ethics Commission. Our third referral to law enforcement is one that I mentioned earlier that has already led to an indictment. That referral is regarding the Boyd County Attorney's Child Support Enforcement Program. During our initial review, as part of the Child Support Enforcement exam through the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, auditors uncovered potential fraudulent activity that led to more than $16,000 in excess payments to a former Boyd County Child Support Office supervisor during the fiscal year 2018. Now, on September 26, 2019, APA auditors requested bank records for the Boyd County Child Support Program for the year ending June 30th, 2018. Following this request, the Boyd County Attorney advised that the former Child Support Office supervisor had returned the bank statements and acknowledged that she had taken money from the Child Support Office. In November of 2019, the former Child Support Office supervisor was indicted on 77 charges. including 1 count of theft by unlawful taking of $10,000 or more and 76 counts of first-degree forgery. The indictment alleged the former office supervisor took over $113,000 over a 7-year period. In this case, by simply asking some questions and shining the light on a situation, our auditors led to the law enforcement investigation that brought about our indictment. Good job, auditors. This, of course, is a perfect example of why the work of our office is critical and the importance of having oversight and accountability at all levels of government. Now, because the Kentucky State Police are continuing their investigation, we will refer the findings of this examination to them. However, because the Cabinet for Health and Family Services uses both state and federal dollars to reimburse county attorneys for expenses related to the Child Support Enforcement Program, we will also refer these findings to the FBI and the Office of the Attorney General. Now, the full report, which contains 9 findings, will be available for review, and my understanding it has been posted on our website at auditor.ky.gov. Now, the additional findings detail poor record keeping, lack of oversight and segregation of duties, questionable spending, and poor guidance when it comes to the transitioning from one county attorney to another. Now, you may be asking yourself, how can something like this happen? How can we have so many various issues identified? Well, finding 5 of our report details how current state law provides minimal guidance and oversight of Kentucky's 120 county attorneys. In addition, there is no requirement under state law that county attorneys receive an annual financial statement audit in the same way that sheriffs, clerks, and fiscal courts do. Our exam did identify 2 county attorneys, the Kenton County Attorney and the former Clark County Attorney, that chose to have audits done of their offices. But, as I mentioned, there is no requirement in statute for county attorneys to be audited. Because of that, and due to the issues identified in our examination, my office will ask the Kentucky General Assembly to pass legislation that will clarify the use of money received by county attorneys to pay for the office operating expenses. I will also ask that the county attorneys be required by the General Assembly to be audited annually under the same requirements as county fiscal courts, clerks, and sheriffs. It just makes sense. If the General Assembly doesn't do this, at a minimum, I would encourage all county attorneys to take a proactive action by having an annual audit done and making the results available to the public. We also ask that the General Assembly consider establishing a fiscal regulatory authority over the county attorney offices with the Department for Local Government to provide accountability and oversight similar to what applies to other local officials. Now, these requests for changes are not because I believe there's any type of systemic failure within the county attorney offices. We have 120 of them. To the contrary, I have faith that most county attorneys want to serve the public to the best of their ability. But, just as my dad always used to say, fences make good neighbors, and I always say, people need guardrails, something to make sure that they're doing what they should. I believe those who serve want and need guidance in order to provide the best and most consistent processes in their offices. Now, if the rules to operate are clear and sunlight, just in the case of Boyd County, is applied, both officials and the taxpayers will benefit. Now, when I took office in 2016, we gave our auditors a very simple directive. We just asked them, just follow the data. Now, what that means is each day we will strive to increase accountability to you, the taxpayer, in the spirit of bringing good government to all corners of the Commonwealth. Now, if we truly want to shine the light of transparency on how tax dollars are being spent, then county attorneys must be included. Again, the full details of our examination, along with responses from county attorneys who were part of the exam, are available at auditor.ky.gov. Now, for those of you watching on Facebook, thank you so very much. for those of you that are participating in the for those of you participating in the press, I would ask and be available for questions at this time. Thank you, and God bless. Do we have questions?
Yeah, this is Henry Colbyhouse of the Ashland Daily Independent.
Yes, good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, sir. I was just wondering with the Lawrence County business,
Yes.
uh, something like this. How out of the ordinary is a finding like this? I mean, just kind of the context of kind of what you all have audited over the years. How out of the ordinary is this type of
It seems rather unique. Of course, in this particular case, we looked at 9 county attorneys. Some of the other ones had provided bonuses, but this is the largest in the percentage that actually went specifically to the spouse of the county attorney. Does seem extremely out of the ordinary.
This is Michonne Lindstrom from Spectrum News 1.
Good to hear from you.
What do you know what penalty, if they are indicted, what penalty the Lawrence County, I guess what he said, Lawrence County business, what that would carry?
Yeah, the Lawrence County attorney, we were referring them for a couple of issues. One, obviously, they were providing bonuses, but the bonuses were so 94% of the bonuses went specifically to the spouse. Our job is basically to find the data, confirm the data, and if we feel that it rises to, of course, we will report the data, but if we feel it rises to, we'll refer it. It's up to each law enforcement agency to review it and to determine whether or not it's something that they will explore further. So I'm not sure specifically what the indictments would be. In the case of Boyd County, it was quite obvious. It wasn't the county attorney, but the office manager of the Child Support Enforcement just admitted. I mean, that was the wonderful and crazy thing. Our auditors were just asking for the bank statements, and she brought the bank statements in and said that she had had taken some of the money. So,
Auditor Harmon.
yes.
I have a question via text from Chris Williams at WHS Television. He asked, were you shocked by what you found, and did you expect this as far as the level of what you found?
The question from Chris Williams was I shocked and did I expect it? Certainly it was shocking, that large amount. We have found in other audits small bonuses that we indicated that were in violation of Section 3 of Kentucky's Constitution, but this one was so sizable. So it's certainly unfortunate from the standpoint of Gallatin and some of the others. Obviously, Gallatin, they probably needed to have better record keeping, and certainly you cannot commingle funds. You cannot use public funds for personal or private office practices. So it was, it was a little surprising. It was, but anytime you shine sunlight on something, it takes a while, and it's good for everybody, including the taxpayers. Definitely the taxpayers.
Auditor Harmon?
Yes.
I have another question via text from Paul Miles with WHS Radio. He asked, what is the status of the wives in the Gallatin, Lawrence, and he says Boyd County, but I don't believe the Boyd County spouse is working here. She may be.
Right.
He wants to know, are these spouses still in the office and working for those county attorneys?
As far as I know, we haven't reached back out to them to see if they still are, but I would assume that they are, but I don't know for certain. Other questions? Michael, we got anything else?
Another question from Chris Williams at WHS Television. He says, do you name the names of those accused in the report?
In the report itself, no, but those are easy to get. It's normally standard for us just to mention titles, but certainly we have a cross-reference for that for any reporter that would like it.
Henry of the Daily Independent again.
Sure.
I seen in the report that I guess the bonuses paid in Lawrence County were not taxed.
That is correct. That is correct. And
were those cash payments, or kind of what was that?
my understanding is there were 1099 payments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Other questions? Yes, Michael.
Joe Sockel with the Courier Journal had a text. He said, is there no legal requirement in Kentucky for county attorney offices to be audited by the state auditor over any time period?
Currently, there is nothing on the books that has required us to be able to. Now, obviously, we have the ability to audit just simply because we just finished up this particular report. But many of the county attorneys don't even have what we would consider a financial statement. And when we normally do our fiscal courts and our sheriffs and county clerks, the primary audit that we do with them is what's known as a financial statement audit. So that's one of the reasons why we recommended that there be additional guidance from the General Assembly and put them on the same level as your fiscal courts, your sheriffs, and your county clerks. Other questions?
Paul Miles again with WHAS Radio asked how, he's asking how do we plan to recoup the money, but I guess the big question is, can this money be recouped?
So the question is, can this money be recouped? Obviously, from our standpoint, once again, we find the data, we confirm the data, we report the data. I would say follow the data. It will be, we have referred especially those three that we mentioned, Boyd, Gallatin, and Lawrence, we have referred those to other agencies, including law enforcement as well as the IRS and the Kentucky Department of Revenue, in addition to Attorney General as well. So all of those and the local ethics boards, those will have additional comment as to whether it would be paid back or not. Other questions?
In that Boyd County business, Henry, if the Daily Independent again.
Yes.
In that Boyd County business, is that $16,000? Is that newly uncovered stuff, or does that go into that total amount that we find in that indictment?
The $16,000 that we mentioned was for the fiscal year 2018 that was commented in our report. The Kentucky State Police, when it was turned over to them, the indictment that they had was for over a 7-year period. They alleged that she had taken $113,000, which I believe our $16,000 would be included in that.
Paul Miles with WHS Radio has a question again.
Yes.
He asked if each of the county attorneys are currently holding office. In other words, the county attorneys that are mentioned in the report.
Well, some of the county attorneys that we mentioned were also former, but of course Lawrence County Attorney, to my knowledge, is still there. Gallatin County is still there, and the Boyd County. Obviously, our referral was not for the Boyd County attorney himself, but for staff, and that staff member is no longer with them.
And Jack Brammer with the Herald Leader has two questions. He
Sure.
says, other than the referral to the FBI and the Attorney General's office, is there anything new in the Boyd County finding? I'll let you answer that first, and I will ask you his second question.
I don't know that there's anything additional. Obviously, we had finished this particular one. Some of the items that were contained in the KSP indictment came about because of the questions that our auditor asked, and then those being turned over. But I'm not aware that there's anything additional beyond what was mentioned in the KSP.
And Jack's second question is that the Gallatin County Attorney had asked our office to wait 30 days to release this report and meet with him in person. He says, is that correct? And did we decline to meet with him?
That is acknowledged in their response. Certainly, I'm not opposed to meeting with them, but we could not hold up and would not hold up for this. However, every county attorney has the opportunity. There's an initial response period, and then there's another response period within 60 days. So they all have an opportunity to have additional response within 60 days.
And to mention to an earlier question, Auditor Harmon,
Sure.
The appendices in the report, which all the reporters should have received or can access on our website at auditor.ky.gov, does include the names of both the current and former county attorneys that were part of our review period.
Okay. Was that a question, Michael, or
That was an earlier question about if any of these attorneys are current county attorneys.
Okay. The question was the appendices.
Well, what I was doing was giving the response, which is the appendices have the names of both current and former county attorneys.
Okay. So the appendices do have that.
The review period.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Michael. Other questions? Anybody else?
Tom Latek with Kentucky Today asked, will we be examining other county attorneys based on the findings of this report?
I believe we will. I can't make that promise, but I believe we will. However, just as was indicated when we released this, we would like to see the General Assembly both help provide additional guardrails for our county attorneys, because as I said, I think most county attorneys want to do what's right. So provide those guardrails, guidance through the Department of Local Government, and then mandate that they actually have a financial statement audit. And as I said earlier, some of those county attorneys, or perhaps many of them, don't actually even have a financial statement. So that is something that we will have to work with. But I think it would be good. And certainly, based on what we've seen here, I think it's important for additional sunlight to be shined in that area. Other questions?
Since the county attorneys aren't required by law to submit to an audit, were they mostly cooperative with y'all in undergoing this audit?
Yeah, they were all very cooperative. Now, from a standpoint, we believe that we have as the auditor's office, we have the legal authority to audit them, and this type of audit is what we would call more of a special exam. Financial statement audits are similar but different, but everyone that we worked with was, I'm not aware of any that had any problem in allowing our auditors to come in or answer questions. So for that, I am thankful. Anything else? Other questions? Michael, anything else?
No other questions via text. If no one has any other questions, we can end press conference.
All right. Well, thank you all again. Thank you, everyone from the press. Thank you for those that are watching us via Facebook. Certainly, if you have additional questions or concerns about anybody in government, you can. We have a tips line at auditor.ky.gov. That's also where these reports will be posted. And we also have a tips line of 1-800-KY-ALERT. I always encourage people, if they have concerns, please to reach out to us and let us know. Thank you, and God bless.